Hello, everyone. Welcome. I will give everyone just a few more moments until we get started. Make sure everyone has a chance to get their microphones and their cameras to work. Excellent. Thank you for joining us all today. We have a great panel. Before we get started, though, I would just briefly like to go over a few things, and that is, this is a meeting format, so you're most welcome to be on camera. You can ask questions by unmuting yourself or using the chat button to communicate with the panelists or with each other. It is recorded, so you will have access to the webinar also later on our ACRO website. Please feel free to share with anyone who is not able to attend. And last but not least, if you would like to actually add closed captions, you can do so by going to the bottom panel of Zoom and click captions. And without any further ado, I would like to hand it over to Tiffany Robinson. Thank you, Tiffany.
All right. Thank you, Velma. Good afternoon, everyone. It is so great to have you here with us for our second session of Know Before You Go. My name is Tiffany Robinson. I'm the Assistant Vice Provost and University Registrar at the University of Texas, San Antonio, and I've had the privilege of serving as your president. I am past president now, so whew. I'm going to pass it over to my fellow panelists and to our moderators for today. So Brenda, I am going to kick it off to you.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So great to see you all. My name is Brenda Schumann. I'm Assistant Vice Provost for Enrollment Services and University Registrar at the University of Texas at Austin. Great to see you all, and I will kick it over to Chris.
Hi, everyone. Chris Thorson. I'm the Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management and University Registrar here at Kent State University. And I will kick it over to my other fellow Ohioan, Portia.
Hello, all. My name is Portia Lamar. I am a product manager here in Columbus at The Ohio State University. Yes, I had to say the, but that's what you have to do here. So I will move this on to Kelsey.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey Simonson. I'm the Registrar and Director of Community Standards for Tufts University School of Dental Medicine. And I'll pass it to Wendlyn.
Hello, everybody. I'm Wendlyn Davis. I'm the Executive Director for Pathway Alignment at Chattanooga State Community College. So thank you for joining. Nice to see you all.
All right, I'll go ahead and get us kicked off. Do we want to start and see if we have any initial questions for the group? You are free to either turn your mic on or type it into the chat. All right, no initial questions. I am going to pose a question to our group. So for those of us on here, can you kind of briefly tell us about what your first ACRO experience was like? I'll kick it over to Portia.
Well, my first ACRO experience was through COVID. And so it was through the Zoom. Zoom was our best friend at that time, and we have carried that friendship on clearly now. But so that was my first time. And although it was not an in-person experience, it was still overwhelming with all the options that you have. But having that be my first, it was literally like I had found my people, which was everyone here. So please look forward to that. And also joining caucuses. So that was a wonderful, wonderful takeaway from my first time.
Chris or Brenda, would you like to share?
Sure. I like Portia, want to agree with the comment first around the caucuses. I think it's a fantastic way to get to meet people. I think one of the best things that I have found from ACRO is just the knowledge of our members and the experiences that they have. And so caucuses is a great way to meet people, smaller environments, not as many people. I think, and I think about my time currently as the co-chair of the LGBTQIA+ caucus. It's a great opportunity to connect with peers in that space. So whether it's talking about issues at work, personal things, all of it. I mean, it's just, I agree with Portia, it becomes family. My first acro was just a few years longer ago than Portia's. I'm not going to say when, but it was in New Orleans, and I would agree. It was probably one of the most overwhelming experiences for me, just because of the size of the conference, the people, learning a city, trying to figure out where you're going. And so I think take it all in stride and take it all in. And I'll give my last little plug, and you can ask questions about Columbus, and I'll do my best to answer them. I also will serve as one of the co-chairs for the local arrangements committee for ACRO at Columbus this year. Columbus is a great city, very walkable, easy to get back and forth between the hotels, the convention center space, and all the restaurants and coffee shops and things to do around the convention center. So a great space to have the conference this year. Brenda.
Yeah, I think for me, my first acro, not to rehash, is the overwhelming feeling is just the amount of knowledge and like ideas you're going to come home with. So if it's your first time coming to acro, I would just be prepared to, like, it's not like a vacation. You will like learn a lot, and you'll have to be able to benchmark and see all the cool things that other peers are doing across the country. And for me, it was just kind of like when I got back to the office, it's like, oh my gosh, where do I start? Because there's just so much that you can learn. But I would encourage you, if it's your first acro, I always like to tell our folks is like, go to something you wouldn't normally have before. So like my office, we don't do transfer evaluation. It's handled through admissions, but I always try to go to a transfer evaluation just so I'm knowledgeable, because this won't be my last job. And you will move around, and it's always knowledgeable to have experience in other areas outside of what you're doing. So.
Panelists, if there is one bit of information you could give to folks about their first experience, something to look out for, what would it be? For me, it would be wear comfortable shoes. We walk a lot, y'all. The venues at times are a very nice size. You will get those 10,000 steps in. I guarantee you by 10 o'clock that morning, you will have your 10,000 steps in.
I agree with Tiffany, but you can also have a second pair of shoes too, just in case you want to, be fly, and then be fly and comfortable. So that's how I kind of roll. But yes, you are right. There's a lot of movement there.
And I would say pace yourself. Like everybody else was saying, there's so much information. There's so many sessions that you're going to want to go to, and be prepared that they'll be competing. You will have competing sessions. There will be times when it's more than one session, and you're going to want to go to all of them. So pace yourself. Always double check to see if it might be running a second time. And just, really build your schedule, and then give yourself room to change your mind. If you walk into one and it's not quite, or it might be information you already knew, then you can leave and go to another one. I think that was the part that scared me. The first is like, I don't want to be rude. I don't want them to think I'm saying something bad because I'm walking out, but it's normal. So don't feel bad if you need to, change a session.
I think one tip I would encourage, which is hard in this day and age of technology, they're always here, laptops, do your best to disconnect. One thing I try my hardest at is just setting an expectation with individuals at your own institution that you will be away, you will be attending a conference. I try and have that conversation with my supervisor before leaving, like, is there anything you need from me? I'm going to be gone for 3 days, and really trying to be gone and take that time, because your institution did pay for you to travel, and cases long distances. So make the most out of it that way as well. It's kind of Kimmel backing off of Gwendolyn's comment.
Do one more quick check-in with the group and see if there's anyone that has any questions for us. All right, panelists, is there anything else that you would like to share with the group about your experience? I know for me, like many of you, it was very overwhelming that first time coming. I remember sitting in that ginormous room when the president walked on and hearing them speak and listening to the other board members that were sitting in the front of the room. And I thought to myself at that time, wow, this is impressive. I will never be one of those people that is sitting at the front of the room or standing on that stage. So I fortunately was tapped on the shoulder by someone who had been involved in ACRO for many years. And she said, you're going to join a caucus. She brought me to the Black Caucus and I joined the caucus. A year after that, she said, you're going to be the chair of the caucus. And I was the chair of the caucus. You're going to have folks that are going to come up to you during that first meeting. They're going to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I see potential in you. I think you would be a good fit for X, Y, and Z. You are welcome to say no. Some of us are pushy though. I'm just going to tell you, if I ask you to do something, but you are welcome to say no. You're not always going to be at a place or a space where you're able to do that, but keep it in mind. It may not be right for you right now, but at the next annual meeting, it may be something that you're actually interested in and want to do. Let's see, we've got one in here. Are there usually just chairs to sit in, or are there tables or for laptops? It depends on the room. Most of the time they do have tables with them. So you do know, Becky saying no more tables. We used to have tables.
We have most of the session rooms are actually set in what we call in theater. And so it's the rows of chairs so that it accommodates as many attendees as possible. But there are a few rooms that are going to be set in rounds. So those banquet rounds, that's like the caucus meetings are all in the rooms that are set with rounds. And so there are some rooms where there'll be tables, but don't count on it. And then even if there's tables, there's not power at every table, right? So that is a tip that's been shared in previous versions of this, is to bring an external battery. If you are one who relies heavily on power, for an old phone or for a laptop, because there's not always access to outlets in the rooms, because they're either being saved for accessibility purposes for those that require supplemental oxygen or charging of a scooter, or the AV company is using them for equipment that's set in the room. So there will be a charging station at the ACRO booth in the exhibit hall. So if you're getting low, you can always go over and hang out with some friends at the ACRO booth. Don't count, there's not a power strip at every single table that you see. So just preparing you emotionally.
There's usually places around the venue that you can go. You will see lots of ACRO folks scattered throughout the venue, sitting on the floor, finding other tables in other areas where they can work and get power. So it is available to you, just not necessarily in the room that you will be in for your session.
I think that I know that I am so sorry, Brenda, you just came off of mute. Did you want to?
Oh, I was gonna answer Jonathan's question in the chat, or are you gonna do that? So Jonathan asked, that was my dance, like it. Jonathan put a question in the chat. Are there sessions specific to our state or regional groups to hopefully find someone we know? Some states and regions do have gatherings, and those are usually included in the Whova app, right, Becky? So I'm from Texas and part of SACRO, so the Southern Association, and SACRO usually has some sort of gathering, and other states and regionals do the same. So look in the Whova app. But then also you may want to, before you go to ACRO, if your state has a listserv, is maybe, throw out there like, is there anybody from Vermont coming? And then maybe y'all all meet or make a plan to meet as well. So there are some state and regionals who have meetings, but then also the Whova app, you can also find attendees that way if people allow themselves to be found. So there's opportunities for you to find a familiar face. But the good news is we are all familiar faces now because you've seen us, so we can be your friend. Although I would steer clear of Tiffany sometimes. Just kidding, Tiffany. I'm teasing. I've known Tiffany for years. So we're all familiar faces. So if you're like, I don't know anybody, feel free to, if you see any of us or, just stop and catch us and, happy to introduce you around.
One place to be sure to be on Sunday afternoon, if you're looking to meet people and other first-time attendees, is the Experience Acro event, which is for all first-time attendees. It's 3:15 to 4:30. And there's some activations, some little get to know yous, and you definitely get full exposure to everything that Acro has to offer. Our board will be there, our caucus chairs will be there, Acro staff will be there. There's a lot of to learn at the Experience Acro event, and there might be snacks, and you'll definitely are invited to that. So the other thing about the app is there's also communities that people start setting up in the app as soon as it launches. And so if you're looking for any manner of ways to connect with people in the app, it will be there, including crafting aficionados and lovers of pets and Columbus locals and people coming from more than 1,000 miles away. There's the communities gets really popular really fast. So be sure to kind of scroll through there and meet other like-minded or not like-minded if you're looking to diversify your friend group in the app. Exhibitors, there are typically 60 to 75 exhibitors in the exhibit booth. The exhibit hall will be open Monday. It opens Sunday night at the opening reception, so everyone should definitely plan to come to that. There will be snacks. That's not a secret. There will be snacks. And all the exhibitors will be there, happy to meet you. And they'll be open all day Monday and all day Tuesday is the exhibit hall. And I wish Erin were here because Erin has a good little speech she gives about the vendor. Erin Mason is our, she's a member of our program committee, and she's part of our member engagement committee as well. And she talks about, you may not be a decision maker with the vendors now, but you might be later in your career. And so maybe I'm going to stop talking. I don't know. You guys are nodding. So
Doing
someone who
good.
actually does this, can you talk a little bit
You were
about the
doing
exhibit
good.
hall?
You had it, Becky. You were almost there. She's saying that you can collect the ideas, and you, if your institution is open, you can bring it back and share. There was a moment, I think, in her career in which someone did bring something back and they ended up going with that vendor. So you just never know. Also, you don't have to be intimidated in the vendor area. If you didn't really want to speak or talk or whatever, they're not gonna, their feelings won't get hurt. 9 times in, they're already talking to a lot of people. But yeah, that vendor is, you can look around, you can fish around, you can just see what people have to offer. It is no level of experience needing to be in that room.
And there are some vendor sessions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I know that Chris mentioned that the city is walkable for food and everything, and it 100% is. However, remember, it is still a city. Okay, it has its parts, and you're no need to be scared, but just it is what it is. While the eclipse is going on, most of Ohio schools or Columbus schools are canceled. So anybody want to babysit my kid is really what I'm asking, but no, but so just be mindful of those things that are going on as well while you're out and exploring. Beautiful, beautiful area, beautiful downtown, beautiful restaurants on that and by the convention center, but always keep your head on a swivel everywhere you go.
There's a question in the chat about access to walk around the halls, et cetera, on Sunday. You can to look for things. I think that's a great question, and honestly is something I do on a regular basis just to kind of figure out. Since you are, like you said, you're doing a presentation on Monday, you can absolutely do that on Sunday. Becky, what time does registration open on Sunday?
So Sunday morning registration will be open at 7 in the morning, and those counters will be set up on the main level of the convention center, up right between the Hilton and the Hyatt. So if you just keep walking from either of those directions, you'll run into our registration counters. And the speaker ready room opens on Sunday afternoon as well. I think it opens at noon. So if you're presenting on Monday, you can check in at speaker ready, make sure that your presentation looks good on the equipment that you'll have with you in the room. And all of the session rooms are accessible from public and open hallways. So the session rooms are not behind locked areas of a convention center that you can't access. So absolutely on Sunday, you can walk all through all the meeting spaces. Now you might run into an AV tech hauling equipment and setting things up, like we're still, some setup is happening, but you absolutely can walk freely through all of our meeting space and find the rooms and look at the floor map and then chat us and tell us what we missed, for sure.
There's one other question just around that I saw in there, and I'm trying to pay attention to the ones we're in. Weather in Ohio is questionable. And what I mean by that is this morning it was snowing in Ohio, and then this afternoon it was sunny. It may say, a high of 50 degrees, but that's probably going to be at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon versus it might be 30 degrees in the morning. So I always say to folks, and I see some other comments in the chat, layers, but up to the weather, it could rain, it could snow, it could be 80 degrees all in the course of the time while you're in Columbus. That is Ohio weather in the spring. So just to know what to prepare for.
And it can vary from block to block, hour to hour. It's a lot. It's a lot of variation. So yeah.
It's good to have a jacket in the session rooms as well. Sometimes those rooms can get a little cool. So make sure you have something with you to cover up your legs or your arms.
Yeah, and also with that weather in Ohio, be mindful of allergies. If you have not ever experienced that, you could experience it here. We are not known for the cleanest weather, so just make sure you bring everything. Just be aware. I feel like when we went to Denver, I just didn't understand altitude and all that stuff, and I got affected by that. I was sick as a dog when I came back. So I say all that to say, know when you need a break. Know when you need to excuse yourself and maybe just sit in your room or sit in the car, wherever you need to just collect yourself again and then come back out.
There's a question in the chat about the eclipse. How will the eclipse affect the conference? So there is an eclipse happening on Monday, April 8th, and Columbus is about 45 minutes outside the path of totality. And I have said that phrase more times than I care to ever again in my life, but the path of totality is about 45 minutes from Columbus. So like Portia said, they are canceling school and some things are happening locally. We went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on whether or not to alter the schedule for the annual meeting to take a big break during the day for the eclipse. And we decided no, because the membership make a significant investment to attend, and they come to max out their educational opportunity, and there's a lot that goes in. And so we decided that for the people that need to be in the path of totality, they will find their way outside to participate in that. And for the people that want to be in the educational sessions and in the public policy plenary session happening on Monday afternoon, that we needed to make that opportunity fully available. The general session room is right next to a big window and the general session will be ending at 3:30 on Monday. And if you've been part of an eclipse in your life, elementary school, you held the little index card with the hole poked in it to watch on the sidewalk. Eclipses tend to start and end. It's more like a 4.5 hour window from when something starts to happen to when it's as dark as it's going to be to back to when it's as light as it's going to be. So that break from 3:30 to 4, if you want to go and kind of look around and see what's happening eclipse wise, that'll be happening. There's lots of big windows and opportunities there. We are not providing eclipse classes. There might be some vendors in the hall that are, and I know that the Title IV pre-conference workshop, I think she's bringing eclipse classes for some fun. So there's some nods to the eclipse, but we're way more focused on FERPA turns 50 and all the cool things that are happening as part of the annual meeting. So.
What else are you guys interested in learning? A lot of us have been involved in ACRO for several years, so we've had quite a few experience with different ACRO meetings. So this is your opportunity to ask us anything.
There was one question that we maybe didn't miss if others are putting things in that we could all chat about or mention is it said what other event besides the opening session is happening on Sunday. So I think that's at least my experience in the past was while there's the opening session, there's also the exhibitor reception after the fact. There's Experience Acro, which Becky put in the chat from 3:15 to 4:30. I think some of the caucuses sometimes get together and meet ahead of time. It's a great time to also explore looking for, my opinion, looking for where you're going to get your cup of coffee in the morning if you're an early riser, what's close to your hotel from a walking perspective to find a cup of coffee or food to eat first thing in the morning. I always think those are great activities also to do on Sunday. And then Brenda mentioned all the pre-conference workshops and put the link in. Overachiever! Yeah.
How much product / handout should we expect? There's minimal paper transferred during this process. A lot of this stuff is going to be available for you within the app. So you don't have to bring any additional materials. If you are a presenter, you should have already put your, where does the presentation go, Becky? There's a special place where they put them so that the tech folks have access to it and all that.
Yeah, so presenters are supposed to be uploading their PowerPoint slides to a link. There's a Dropbox folder that's available on the presenter guidelines page of the ACRO website. So once the presentation has taken place and we know that we have the most final version of the slides, because many a speaker walk into speaker ready, I have one little change that I made, can I get that in? And the answer is almost always yes. Once we've got that final version, then after the sessions have ended, as long as the presenter's okay with it, we upload those slides as a PDF to the sessions in the app, and the app is available for 60 days following the conference. So you can have access to the slides afterwards, as long as the PDF is approved by the presenter. Sometimes the corporate presenters do not allow the PDFs to be attached to their sessions because of proprietary or copyright issues that, they're protective of the sharing, but typically we get those up. As far as the product and handouts, you will get a little tote bag. When you pick up your badge, you go to the registration counter and you'll get a badge. The lanyard colors mean something. Royal blue is the board, purple is first timer, light blue is the staff. You don't have to memorize this, don't worry, we'll put it, there is some instruction in the app that'll give you this information. And that little tote bag, which I believe is being sponsored by Parchment, has some materials inside of it that some of our, or is it Instructure now? I think the tote bag actually still says Parchment, but there'll be some little handouts and like a pen or some things that some of the exhibitors have put in there. And at the booths in the exhibit hall, what would you say? How much product and giveaway items are there in the exhibit hall?
I think there's tons. It's just if you want to take it or not. You can decline, or you can be like, "Ooh, that I want that." It is totally up to you. Think of it like a job fair.
And remember, folks, for those of you flying, you do have to put that in your luggage to get it home. So I would suggest you pick up a few, or you buy another bag to bring the stuff back with.
Yeah, I sadly, it may be rude, but I looked at it as positive. I left the hotel staff some items here. You may want this.
We have a question. Do most people bring a laptop to the sessions? It just kind of depends on your preference. You'll see lots of folks with laptops because I know Chris said that we need to power down from work, but a lot of us will still have those laptops. We're still taking meetings. We're still sending emails, things of that nature. So yes, you can definitely have the laptop there. It's not a requirement that you have to have it with you at a session.
Sometimes presenters will do little polls and different things like Mentimeter type polls. And so more than a laptop, I've definitely seen some engagement with phones happening during sessions. There will be Wi-Fi. There will be a conference Wi-Fi network brought to you by Florida Atlantic. So that's happening this year. So our advice on Wi-Fi is it's available, but it's conference Wi-Fi. So I would not plan on officiating your daughter's wedding in another country via Zoom on the Wi-Fi on your phone. Like there is Wi-Fi, but it's the best that conference Wi-Fi can be. And we have given the same advice to presenters. It's there and you can connect to it, but have a backup plan in case your poll or something freezes. So.
And I will say, if you're using like institutional VPN, it doesn't always play well with internet. So that might be your excuse to power down until you get to your room, because you couldn't get on VPN, you just couldn't get to anything. So just in case, that's a good backup.
I can share a few other fun facts because this is a quiet group. We're expecting about 1,800 people. During our breakout sessions, there's 21 concurrent breakout sessions from which to choose. So you may want to, when you're in the app, there are some filters that you can use to search for sessions of interest. You can look for topic areas, you can look for, international, or there's some tagging on the sessions that you can use to do some filtering. And you can select more than one session per time slot as a favorite. So you can add something to you can add 2 sessions at 10 o'clock to your schedule, so that if you go into the room and notice, ooh, all the seating's in the front row, I'm gonna go check out another room. You can kind of plan your second choice in the app there as well, because it is a lot to choose from. There's a plenary session each day. Tuesday's the busy day. Tuesday starts bright and early with the plenary at 8 a.m. And then there's the ACRO business meeting at 10:45. And then we have our diversity plenary speaker at 2:30. So Tuesday's a busy day in the general session room. Do you register before using the app? You have to be registered for the meeting to get access to the app. And that is a hard rule, and it's a hard rule for corporates as well. They always want to add extra people to be in their booth staff, and we tell them absolutely they have to be registered, because you guys are the keys to the kingdom, right? We don't want them to be downloading, screenshotting people's email addresses and this and that if they're not registered for the conference. So once you're registered, you'll be added to the app when it goes live.
There's some.
We got Nicholas.
Yeah, just a quick question. I was a little bit of an overachiever and already went through the schedule like 3 weeks ago to add my interested sessions to my calendar. So I'm curious if there have been any significant changes to the schedule such that I should go through the app again. Does that make sense?
You
Yeah.
should, yeah.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll do
Because I
that.
think sometimes sessions might change, or if somebody at the last minute can't come, if a session gets canceled, something else might take its place. I always think it's really good to just review it just in case. And you might, even day by day, back to Portia's comment about how exhausted you might be, maybe like, you know what, I just need a minute. So the great part of also, I'll add a comment off of Becky's thing of adding multiple sessions is, and I think Gwendolyn mentioned this, you could leave one and go to the other. So maybe you're in one and it just turns out to be just a fantastic session. You at least can go look at the other slides from the other session or other sessions. That makes it nice as well.
Let's see, how many attendees are registrar focused versus admissions professionals? And is it more heavily focused in one group or the other? Yes, it generally leans heavy towards the registrar side. Becky, is it still pretty much like that, or are we starting to balance out with admissions now?
We're balancing, not just with admissions, it's balancing, but also we're seeing a lot of presence from enrollment management professionals. We're seeing, provosts that are coming. We're seeing financial managers that are coming, especially with the hot topics that you are all aware of in higher ed. There's a lot of need for intersectionality on that. I can't say it's I cannot say that it is half admissions office. That would be an overstatement, but it's starting to tip, and ACRO has been focused on bringing those conversations more and more into the light. So I don't have the percentages broken down though.
Yeah, technology isn't necessarily just the vendors. It can be a lot of people from all those walks in higher ed, talking about what they have done with technology within their institution.
Well, I will say too, and I've been on the admission side up until recently, and over the years, and it's been years and years now. It's never been a lack of content on the admission side though, so don't feel like there won't be content, whether you're registrar side or admission side. I haven't had an issue not having enough content. Actually, it's always a lot to choose from.
And having access to those sessions after the conference is over is really great, especially when you go through and you see that there are several that may be going on at the same time as something else that you would like to see. You have the ability to go back and review the notes from that session. A few of them are going to be recorded. Is that listed in the app, which ones are going to be recorded?
They are, yeah, they'll be tagged with the live stream, and you can see the sessions that are on the live stream schedule now on the website. There's a page for virtual attendees that has all the live stream sessions listed, what those are. And I think the other thing to remember is that the program committee has done a beautiful job of selecting sessions that are universally appropriate at all stages of career development. There's sessions on managing up, there's sessions on engaging brand new hires, there's sessions on motivating a staff, there's sessions on change management. Like, there's a really broad base, I would say, of topics that are applicable no matter what part of the university you're in. I know they've worked really hard on that. So.
The caucus meetings are also kind of sprinkled out throughout the week. ACRO has been very intentional about making sure that each caucus area has a set time so that if there is some overlap, it is extremely minimal. We know that you are not just one thing. You have intersectionality among most of these groups. And so it gives you the ability to be able to attend one or any of the caucuses that you would like to be able to attend. So shout out to the Black Caucus. We had this in another meeting. Someone asked about who could attend caucuses. Anyone can attend a caucus. You do not have to be Black, African-American in order to attend the Black Caucus. You can be an ally. You can be in there and have your voice heard just like everyone else. You can attend the LGBT caucus and support Chris and the other folks that are in that caucus. We have a Native American caucus, the Asian Pacific Islander. I'm missing somebody, y'all. Help
You
me
don't
out.
have to be under 40 to go to the Young Professionals.
Yes, young professionals.
There we go.
I'm naming myself. Woo, woo.
Women's caucus.
And the Women's Caucus. Yes, we do have a Women's Caucus as well.
And Latinx? Is this still Latinx?
Yes.
Okay.
So please, if you haven't had an opportunity, go out to the ACRO website and look at the caucuses, see what interests you, reach out to a caucus chair if you need to find out a little bit more information about the group, what they've done in the past, what they're currently doing. Yes, if you're interested in the Black Caucus, please reach out to Ms. Wendelin, please reach out to Portia. They are very helpful.
We got Chris for LGBTQ+. You've got Kelsey for the young professionals. We are here, and I'll have open arms. Welcome for everyone. I also want to put out there in between sessions. I know we talked about being in the vendor hall, or we've got the ACRO bookstore that you can peruse. And also we have setups for the ACRO podcast. So we would love for you to stop by, join in, and just hear the topic of conversation. And you are more than welcome to say something. And it would probably be aired in the next episodes. So whatever we got, I don't even know how many podcasts anymore. I can't. Tiffany, you did good naming the caucuses. I cannot name all the podcasts. But
For the
again,
record.
the ACRO site will show all of those. But yes, we will be there with the microphone. Yes, for the record, heard, admitted, transfer T. So we will all be there with the microphone. So feel free to come and talk about some topics.
Becky, are we still doing the stop and shares this year?
Yeah, there will be 5 stop and share tables set in some hallways there or foyer areas. They're wide, don't worry, like we're not putting you in a broom closet, but there's some open areas. They're not full sessions with AV and chairs set in rows. They're much more informal and smaller little gatherings on specific topics. So those will be in the app and searchable and likable and add to your schedulable as well. And they'll have a nice sign in front of them saying what they are. So those are just happening on Monday and Tuesday at 2 different times during the day, in the morning and the afternoon. And I don't have it memorized, but they're not every single session time does not have stop and shares. There's just a time in the morning and a time in the afternoon on Monday and on Tuesday.
Are we still doing the poster sessions or have those been folded into the stop and shares?
Correct. Yeah, we don't have poster sessions anymore. There is a food court that's a part of the convention center just for planning food. There's not only are there cool restaurants and bars all around the convention center within walking distance, but there's also a food court there on the first level of the convention center that's accessible through stairs, elevator, or escalator. We don't control it. We didn't order any food. They know we're coming. And so they usually step up for that, but that's also pretty convenient for us to have that at our fingertips while we're there.
And I would say kudos, Acro. Acro feeds us very well for snacks. So, if you're trying to budget, you will have space. Acro does a really good job of making sure that we have snacks and water, coffee, tea, things like that flowing. So you won't have to go without, I'll say that, but don't come on a diet because your diet it's broken for that week. So just take a break.
Yeah,
Come back to it when you do that.
whoever in Denver thought about putting the macaroons out, you had never seen me run so fast in my life. I was so excited for that. So they do feed you.
And I will say the breaks are a good time to network. So you will be a lot of people. So don't be shy. Come prepared to talk to a lot of people that you've never met before, but you'll find a lot of people that you have things in common going on at your institution or career aspirations or anything like that. So don't be shy.
As Becky said in the last session, we are a group of huggers. You are going to see a lot of people hugging. Now, we don't just go around hugging anybody. So if you don't want to be hugged, don't worry, we won't hug you. But we really are a family. Once we get together, I mean, for some of us, we don't get to see each other but once a year. And so when we do, we make the most of the time that we have together. Has anybody started getting their emails from the vendors yet?
Yeah, guess
Yeah, that's another thing you will want to look out for is you will start to get emails from vendors saying, hey, I see you're attending Acro. Stop by my booth. Stop by the booth if you'd like to. If it's something that interests you, you are not obligated to do so. You will get invitations to vendors will hold receptions while we are there. You will start to get invitations to go to the receptions. For some of them, you actually have to come into the vendor hall and speak with the vendor. They'll give you a sticker. They'll give you a little fuzzy something. They'll give you something that will get you into their event. A lot of them are held either at the hotel or someplace close to the hotel. Some of them are held at the same time as others. You are not obligated to stay at one. You will find many of us that will stop at one, go to the next, kind of make an appearance and go from there. So just so you know, those will be available as well.
and be mindful of the vendor sessions that could happen after hours. That I said after hours for a reason, because sometimes drinks could be flowing and everything. So just be mindful that is a thing, and know yourself. Know yourself in your intake.
There's a question in there about things to do, places to eat outside of the conference. I'll take this as a great opportunity to mention the at the annual meeting, there is a booth dedicated to just Columbus. We'll have handouts from Experience Columbus that list kind of the different places where restaurants are. There is I'm drawing a blank on the name of the market. There is a public market that's real close by. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is.
North Market.
North Market, that's it. Where there, I think, and if I'm remembering correctly, just inside that market, there's 30-ish different places that you can eat inside that market, which is walking distance from the convention center. So lots of things to do. There's lots of galleries close by if you're looking for things in the evening, or you show up if you arrive on Saturday. Lots of things to just walk through the Short North neighborhood, which is real close by to that as well.
Safety tip,
Food,
once you're outside of the exhibit hall or the conference areas, take off your lanyard is a recommendation that's pretty standard. Not just Columbus, but anywhere we go, we gently remind people, once you're off of the meeting property, go ahead and remove your lanyard so it's not quite so obvious that you're an out-of-towner. There's a question about the Ohio State University giving campus tours. Portia?
I mean, okay, let me start by saying this, all right? I am not the guide for OSU. I don't even know where to go on campus. It's huge. I do think it is a great campus to come and tour. I can definitely look that up and see real quick. If it is something, I'm pretty sure there's schedules, so I don't know if there is, but you don't have to have a official tour to go on campus. You can kind of just go there if you want to. So it is big, and it is a little further away from where we'll be. So you would definitely have to Uber there or drive if you are driving to the conference. But yeah, and there's parking you have to pay for. But like I said, the campus is huge, but it is a sight to see.
And there's not like a planned excursion that ACRO is doing, just saying that out loud, to go to any university or local attraction. That would all need to be set up.
Yeah, and just so you know, Ohio State is huge. There's other universities here that live here and live flourishly here. So it is not just them. Love the Ohio State. I love you, the Ohio State, who's ever listening. But there's several different universities to that you'll probably see those people in there. So it's good to know that we have a lot of colleges here.
We have a question. How much time is built in for lunch?
12 to 1:30 are the lunch breaks on Monday and Tuesday. And the sessions start at 1:30, so 12 to 1:20 maybe in your mind. And then Wednesday we go straight through. There is not a break from the first sessions that start at 8. The exhibit hall is closed, so I don't have anywhere to feed you. And we go 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Closing plenary session with Dr. Michael Sorrell starts at noon, and then we're done. And then you can go eat and enjoy Columbus after that. There are morning and afternoon refreshment breaks planned on Monday and Tuesday. So starting at about 10 a.m. on both of those days, they're half an hour. And then from 3:30 to 4 on Monday and Tuesday afternoon. And that's your chance to get a little sugar, get a little caffeine, and then there's sessions at 4 and at 5. So we go all the way till 6 o'clock. So no matter what time zone your body's in, there is a session for you. We start at 8 and we end at 6. One other place that I just will say out loud is quite popular, and maybe again turning back to the panel, is the jobs board. Is a pretty hot place. It's near the bookstore. So I don't know much more to say, but it is a watering hole of sorts.
It is, if you are in the market or thinking about potentially being in the market, I would definitely tell you to stop by the ACRO job board and take a look. I stopped by there. I'm not looking. As Portia said, I love you, UTSA. I love you. But I am always on the hunt to see what new and different things are out there. I've got a lot of great folks on my team that have a lot of great potential. So while it may not be something that is right for you, you may know someone that you can pass that information along to. So definitely take a look at that jobs board.
Also, I think I would just say to that, if you have a position that's open at your institution, it's also a great place to post.
Mhm.
jobs that you have open. So bring a copy of that job description along in the posting.
Through the app or just in person, there will be a lot of LinkedIn connections. So that's another place in which you all can network. It was a good nugget from the last meeting was whoever you connect with, and you may not have long conversations with them. You may have just hit them up through LinkedIn, or they just gave you a card. Reach out to them a little bit after the conference just to say, you know, it was nice meeting you. Look forward to seeing you in the future, or whatever it is, just to make that initial connection. Because I guarantee from there and the next conference you go to, you see them again. And that's how the connections start and the friendship starts. And then you become a hugger. So just letting you know. Yeah, Nicholas.
Chris, I want to jump on that point you just made about the job board. So I know if you want to advertise through the ACRO website, it's a few $100s. Is this more of kind of a lower stakes entry point? Can we just bring a posting and put it up there, or?
As far as I know, that board at that conference, unless it's changed, Becky, tell me if I'm saying this incorrectly. That's a freebie post. It's just you bring it, and I feel like there is that one is free. Becky, tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm chatting the guy that's in charge of it right now. I think it is the Wild West. I think if you bring a job, you can just put it on the board, but let me confirm that before this recording goes into the archive for the rest of time.
Sweet, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I get myself off mute. Reminder to bring business cards. I don't have any. I have mine in an app, which is very useful, and I don't have to carry the cards. But there will be some vendors that will do giveaways based on you putting your business card into a fishbowl of some sort. So if you do have business cards, please make sure to bring them with you. If you do not, there are several apps where you can do that. For some reason, Becky, I was thinking that we had some type of similar functionality within the Whova app where folks could exchange their contact information.
There is the app on your profile in Whova. There's a little QR code that's auto-generated, and you can, as a Whova user, scan someone else's little QR code, and it connects you in the app to each other's profiles.
Mhm.
And so that's a way, the vendors like that as well, if you're willing. They've got that going. And I do have confirmation the jobs board is open. You do not have to pay to post a paper job on the jobs board.
Becky, for the Whova app also, you can find people. Is that still active? Seemed like we did a lot of finding people. You could look someone up and connect with them that way as well. So if you have a name or a school or something like that.
You can. You also have a privacy. There is the option to hide yourself. So if you would rather not be found, you are able to edit your profile and make yourself unfindable. Just as a saying that out loud as well.
There's a wealth of information on that app. If you are a person that likes to do lots of things and takes lots of pictures, we do have a leaderboard on there for the person that is the most active throughout the conference. It is always very interesting to see the folks going back and forth, because when I tell you they want to be first, they want to be first. So it's very interesting, but the leaderboard is fun because you get to see lots of different pictures and places of things that you may not have had an opportunity to go to because you were in sessions. The explanation of the lanyards is in there. I think Becky had mentioned that there will be different colored lanyards for depending on whether you're a first-time attendee, whether you are a part of the board. The documentation from the sessions is going to be in there. A floor map, which is great because some of these places will get you get a little confused sometimes going down the hallway. So it is nice to have the floor map.
And you will not be the only one confused. It'll be a lot of people going, huh? What, experienced or not ACRO people? Like, we're gonna all be looking around.
And you please stop one of us and ask. Now, Gary, look, I'm directionally challenged, so I might send you in the wrong direction, but I'm coming from a good place. It's coming from a good place. But Becky or someone else on the Acro staff, the folks at the information desk, they know the layout of that place probably backwards and forwards because they've been there several times. They are going to be your first go-to for that. You can come and ask me, and I promise I'm gonna try not to send y'all off.
There was a quick question embedded under another question, and I don't want it to get missed. But will there be a booth doing professional headshots?
In the exhibit hall, yes, there's a booth where they're doing headshots. I think they're calling them professional portraits, and they're a different term that they're using this year. But yes, that'll be available, and you can sign up. And if you bring 2 different outfits and sign up for 2 appointments so that you have a choice between 2 versions of a photo of yourself, you would not be the first.
Good. I was gonna say
So-
I highly recommend that. And make sure they got your lighting. You don't have to accept nothing. You don't have to accept it.
No. I go every day. That way I make sure I have at least a good collection between 3 and 4 headshots that will last me into the next Acro meeting when I get my new set done. And Portia is right about the lighting. Now granted, the folks that we have that take the pictures are excellent. They make me look wonderful. But you definitely want to make sure that lighting is right, because that first snap, sometimes I was like, ooh, that's bright. That's a little brighter than we need. Tone that down a bit.
One thing to say about the leaderboard in Whova, there's no prize or there's no prizes attached to the Whova leaderboard. That's Whova's software running its own thing. I have no control. I get chats and emails about, can you please tell Tiffany Robinson to calm down? She is liking every post and I keep getting notified, and I don't know. And so people get very into wanting their name on that list. It's not something Acro controls. You can set your notification settings in the app when you're in there. You can tell it email me or don't email me. You can tell me, you can set up your own notifications. Where the prizes are is in the exhibit hall. There's going to be a bingo game where you can visit booths and fill out a bingo card and turn that in to the Acro booth. There'll be some drawings for prizes from the bingo game, but it's not the leaderboard in Whova. So I'm just saying that out loud.
Just your own satisfaction of knowing you won.
Yeah, you do.
All right, well, we're at about 3 minutes before we are going to be signing off. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns for the group? All right, hearing none, I would like to thank you all for coming and spending some time with us today. Remember, we are all friendly faces. We are looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Have a great rest of your day.
See you all.